Hey everyone, and welcome back to San Beris, our little Cities Skylines project, which is already in episode number 3 today, and we are going to build a little bit more of the city, and also we are going to refine the interchange, which we've been doing last episode. So in this episode we are going to basically do all the internal, external interchanges that have to be done. And one thing I want to talk about is actually this little crappy area over here. So what I did at the beginning of this whole series is I made this little town a little bit off the actual inner city, which should only be there to provide our little office area in the media harbor with a few people, so that they are working there, the buildings won't get abandoned and stuff. So I made this little town over here, and I thought I may keep that over time and just make it all more nice looking, to make it actually like a little town which is a little bit in the countryside. But I decided later on to delete that city over here and just make sure that the inner city provides our office area with enough of employees and workers so that this can be done. But we are going to take care a bit of the traffic in this episode. So what we are going to do is we are going to change basically the way how people could get there. So what I did at the beginning is I just slapped down a simple road which connects this little town with the whole office area, and this obviously didn't work that well. As you can see, we have a little bit of a lock up here already in a traffic jam that all the people going inside of this little town need to pass through the whole town, where there's actually just only one single road to go there. And then they want to try to go to this big interchange here. As you can see, they're just going to drive around to then get onto the highway, and yeah, that's not the best way to do it. So I'm going to put down a few interchanges to connect actually the inner city area with this little countryside area. Later on we are going to use that a lot more, and we're going to make this all look a lot more nice. I'm just doing it very quickly here. It's not the way how it looks at the end, especially this one we are going to tackle right now. Won't exactly be how it looks in the end. So it's a bit of a tricky challenge for me, because back then when I was doing this, again, as explained in the last episode already, this is all done a month ago, like seriously, like 5 or 6 months ago. And back then I just started to get back used to the game and used to what Cities Skylines is and what possibilities I do have in the game. So a lot of things were not working that well, and I had to do it all myself, just find it out all myself again. I obviously read some nice things online, and I went into the Discord of Cities Skylines, people helping me out with so many things, but still I was kind of a noob. I'm still just learning at the very moment, but yeah. So one thing I want to talk about is this little bit lowered highway, which will pass actually through the whole city. And this is something you will see quite often in Germany, also because we're still building the German part, and I wanted to make also this highway a little bit like you would see it in a German kind of genuine city, I guess, because as I said, it's not really one city copying. So what I'm doing is basically a mix mash out of Berlin suburban areas, the Düsseldorf, or Düsseldorf, I can just say it in the German pronunciation, why not? I'm German, so I can say so. So the Düsseldorf media harbor, and also I'm going to use a bit of the Ruhrgebiet in terms of how the highways are laid out, because in the Ruhrgebiet you will probably have, and this is the higher industrial zone of Germany, or potentially like the high industrial zone of Germany, you will always have like these highways passing through the inner city, where the speed limit is reduced to 100 or even just only 80 kph, to make sure that the noise levels also kind of, you know, still enjoyable, which is always, it's like never enjoyable, but anyways. So yeah, I'm going to definitely try to do this, and I'm going to work a little bit more with retaining walls later on to make this sunken highway a bit more sunken in general, and you will pretty much see that. If you want to look for some examples, just search for highway Duisburg or just inner city Duisburg. You will see a lot of these things of the sunken highway, which is then connected with the whole city. So this is basically the idea how I wanted to approach that. So this lower down highway will actually pass through the whole inner city, and not only the German one, but also the Spanish, Italian and French one. I'm not quite sure if it's going to the Dutch area, I'm afraid, because I may want to have the Dutch area a little bit separated in terms of highways and stuff, because I'm going for like an Amsterdam approach where you have really the sitting really close to the river and having a lot of channels going, water channels going in and out, and having the city center then, or like another city center, because we're still talking about one huge city, not to be affected by a highway. So yeah, that's the idea about this. But as you can see from the footage, which is pretty much sped up by a lot of times, you can see how much I was struggling to build this interchange over here. And I may say this still looks very, very ugly at the end of this episode, and it still is very unfinished. But the whole purpose of this one is working, and yeah, you can also see I've had a lot of glitches over here. I don't know what this exactly was, but the graphics were bugging a lot when I was moving it with Move It, and I had a lot of issues basically regarding many simple things like just connecting the roads with it. And I wanted to have these side lanes that actually help with connecting the highway. So what they do is that you basically, if you missed, or if you just took the exit unintentionally and you just didn't want to leave the highway, you can just go back onto it if you just noticed that on the right time. So you can just use the lane and just drive through the lane and go back onto the highway. I think that's pretty common, but yeah, I just wanted to do that this way. And yeah, it worked out in the end, but as I said, it looks very crappy, and I still have to redo this later on once we are going into this area to just do a bit more of urban area around this. So basically, and I think I haven't talked about that in general, and also not in the upcoming episodes, because honestly, this episode is recorded way later again. I thought that, you know, the first recording I made for this one is unfortunately broken. It's a bit scratchy, and I don't know why the sound file was broken, but I had to record that again because episode 3 and 4 were pretty much done. You couldn't really use them, so I have to record that again now 2 days ahead of my wedding. I know I have someone here in my flat who's not that happy about it, but finally I managed to convince her that I wanted to go for quality, and I needed to record that again. That said, I'm going to end this episode today a bit earlier. In terms of my commentary, you obviously will get the rest of the video as always. But yeah, so just to talk about what I was just starting to make a point at is that this city will be very dense around the little river in the middle. It will be very dense in some areas, but then I'm going to spread out the city quite a lot to make it not too crazily dense in the end, because I wanted to have like the river area really looking like a packed city. And the more you go outside of the city, as it is always, it's getting a little bit more widespread. I also want to save a bit on performance, so we are going to make some smaller neighborhoods alongside with a lot of countryside and fields and stuff like that. So only if you were wondering how much I'm going into urban areas, this is how much I will go to. But yeah, guys, that's it already. So enjoy the rest of the episode. As always, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing if you haven't already, if you want to see more of it. And also make sure to check out the other series I have running, because there's a lot of fun stuff you can watch. So yeah, see you then, and have a great day. Bye bye.
Landh.